Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studio in Chicago, Illinois, it's time for Chicago Business Radio. Brought to you by FirmSpace, your private sanctuary for productivity and growth. To learn more, go to firmspace.com. Now, here's your host.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Chicago Business Radio. I'm your host, Max Cantor, and before we get started, today's episode is sponsored by FirmSpace. So thank you to FirmSpace, because without them, we couldn't be sharing these important stories that we do. I'm excited for today's episode. We have the owner and sponsoring broker of Premier Chicago Real Estate, so this should be a good one. Please welcome to the show, Todd Stephenson. Welcome to the show, Todd.
Hey, Max. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tell us, let's jump right into it. How you serving folks?
Well, my company, we are a boutique real estate firm here in Chicagoland, specializing in residential and commercial real estate throughout the city and the surrounding suburbs, primarily working with, first-time home buyers, sellers, as well as investors with purchasing real estate throughout the city.
Gotcha. So I know reading your bio and stuff, you weren't always in the real estate business. So what drew you to that industry?
Well, I did not start in the real estate business, but it's always been a passion or an interest of mine since I was younger. Got out of college, kind of went in another direction with sales and the corporate environment, but just kept calling me. It was something I always wanted to do and, serve people and help people. So, a few years within the sales environment, I got out and got into real estate finally.
Gotcha. And so you opened this business during the pandemic. What was that like?
Yeah, we opened in 2020. It's all again, it's always something I had an interest in doing, always something I planned to do. But just like anything, you got busy with work and, you kind of put things off. And then, obviously the pandemic hit and timing is everything, right? And it was, just with the pandemic, it kind of allowed me that pause to really focus and step out to do what I really wanted to do was start my own brokerage.
Gotcha. So how did industry trends change before, during, and now? We're kind of post-COVID. I know it's still going on, but how have you seen those trends shift?
Well, right before COVID hit, we saw a trend in as far as like the interest rates with the home buying market. So, mortgage interest rates were kind of getting lower there. Then the pandemic hit. And then, obviously things went on a standstill. But I think the trends kind of changed with, more people wanting to take advantage of the low interest rates within the mortgage market and the low. I'm kind of just rambling on here, but they wanted to take advantage of the low interest rates. They shifted to, once the market shifted, it was low inventory. So, kind of push prices higher. So we're kind of dealing with more or less a seller's market now, where, basically you have an influx of buyers competing for a lot of inventory because it's very low inventory. So the sellers have basically the pick of the litter. So they're able to kind of list their price and then get multiple offers at or above ask with their sales price. So we see it's kind of a tricky market now if you're dealing with buyers, but if you're dealing with sellers, you're able to get, at or above ask. So it's a great time to sell, great time to buy. But again, with the low inventory, it's kind of rough with finding properties out there. But that's kind of what's going on in the residential market right now.
Gotcha. Now, why should a seller work with your firm?
Well, our goal is to, be able to, obviously, it's customer service, quality. We want to make sure that we, respond in a timely manner, be able to kind of not only respond in a quality manner, but be able to kind of list the price at proper list prices. So when you get somebody selling, you don't want to oversell and underdeliver. So our goal is to make sure we're doing our due diligence, getting the proper pricing strategy for the market, and making sure we get enough buyers within the door to actually get competing offers. That way we can get, a quality price at or above what they're looking to get when selling their property.
You mentioned that you work with a lot of first-time home buyers, so I'm sure a lot of people listening to this might have never even looked into buying a home, but listening to this, they become interested. So what are some common kind of beginner concerns and questions that you have seen with new home buyers, and how do you address those?
With new home buyers, I mean, their biggest concern is this is, most people only buy, one home within their lifespan. So this is their biggest investment in their life. You're talking about taking, the average home sales price in Chicagoland is around $250,000. So when you're thinking about getting a mortgage, that's a hefty price tag. So you want to, make sure, A, you can afford the property, B, what to look for, as far as like, again, with it being your biggest investment, what are some of the things that you're going to have over the next 5, 10, 15 years as owning this property? What are some of the structural things that you may need to look for, et cetera. So, home ownership is very key to kind of be aware of some of these things as far as like, condition of the property when going into it, how much can you afford? What are some of the do's and don'ts, as well as like how to take care of the property over the initial, time that you own the property. So those are some of the initial things that you kind of look for into a home.
Yeah, well, home buying is such a big decision, so it sounds like you do a really great job at easing people into making such a large decision and helping them with it. You mentioned that you help buyers in the Chicagoland area and sellers.
Yeah.
So what neighborhoods are hot right now? Where are there still good deals in that area?
It's quite a few in Chicago. Woodline being one of the hottest neighborhoods, not only in the city of Chicago, but as well as the nation. It's one of the fastest growing and appreciating neighborhoods across the nation. So I think Woodline's a great place. West Loop is a ton of new development and properties going up in West Loop, South Loop. Those are some of your hot areas right now. But I like those three areas primarily when it comes to some of the fastest growing and appreciating hot neighborhoods within Chicago.
Now, does your firm do only residential or residential and commercial?
We also do commercial. I do some small commercial. I work with the Cook County Land Bank, whose primary focus is also help revitalizing neighborhoods with some of their commercial property. So I work as a commercial broker with them, and I help them kind of sell some of their commercial inventory within the south and west sides of Chicagoland.
Gotcha. So you mentioned you're relatively new, started last year in 2020. Do you have any kind of success stories that you're proud of that you would want to share?
Oof, that is a great question. I mean, it's quite a few. I mean, I don't know where. I mean, could you maybe be specific with that? Like was residential, commercial? I mean, what do you?
Maybe a time that you helped a first-time home buyer that was really impactful to them or to you.
Yeah, I mean, if I want to think of something that's fresh offhand, helped a VA seller. We listed his property in Flossmoor, which is a southern suburb here in Chicago. Have been going back and forth for a while, but we listed his property, and within a week of listing the property, again, when we're talking about pricing strategy, we priced it right, got enough activity and traffic through the door the first weekend. We had an offer that following week. So I would say within a matter of 5 to 7 days, we had an offer on multiple offers on his place, but we had an offer. I think it was just over $15K over ask. We were asking $320. We got $335 for that place.
Wow. And is that quick? Is that I don't know the timeline for things like that. So is that faster than usual?
Yeah, within the market, like I said, this market is key. It's very hot right now. So if you got a quality, like I know the sellers have an advantage. So that is pretty fast. 7 days, you're looking at, generally within the first few weeks is when you get the most interest in a property when you list a property. So, if you can get an offer within that first 7 days, that's huge. Mm-hmm. But generally, the activity starts to die down a little bit after like 30 days of being on the market. So if you're 30 days, you start to see less activity because, it's not as fresh in the market. But to get multiple offers, we had like 3 or 4 offers the first weekend, and like I said, we accepted 115K over ask, which is it's pretty good within this market.
So I want to ask you about some tips for first-time home buyers. Something like, what credit score should they be looking to have? How much do you need for a down payment? Things like that.
Down payment, I mean, they have programs out here now where you can do FHA or even conventional products with as little as 3 to 3.5% down. And credit score, that's a good question. I mean, I think some lenders can go, somewhere around like the 600 range. Obviously the better credit score, the better interest rate and terms you're going to get. But I think somewhere around the 600 credit score would, it depends on the mortgage company, but generally maybe around 600 plus, you can get a mortgage with 3.5% down, FHA.
Gotcha. So on this show, Chicago Business Radio, we love to highlight and spotlight local businesses, which is why I'm so glad I get to talk to you today. So as a local business, what do you need more of? Do you need more buyers? Do you need sellers? How can our listeners help you?
Well, both buyers and sellers are key to our business. You can't obviously have one without the other. I love working with buyers because it's helping them realize the dream of home ownership. And, sellers, obviously they're selling their property to move on to whatever their next opportunity is, whether it's, downsizing or relocating to another area, or maybe even getting something bigger because their family's expanding. So I would say both buyers and sellers, are both key in our market.
Yeah. And finally, I got to ask you, what is the most rewarding part of what you do?
Just being able to help others. I'm always open to lend a helping hand. For me, dealing with buyers, like I said, is very rewarding because, some of them may, like their lifelong dream may have been owning a home. And just to be able to see them get to the finish line and be able to own the home that they truly dreamed about or always wanted is rewarding to me. And then, like I said, even helping sellers, whether if it's downsizing, growing or expanding or relocating, I know it's key to I feel it's very rewarding to be able to help them achieve their goals. So it really is just helping others, helping people.
So, Todd, if there's a buyer or seller or just someone who's interested in learning more about your firm, how can people contact you? What's your website and or social media?
Well, I do have our website. They can visit us at www.premierchicagorealestate.com. And we do have an Instagram recently is at Premier Chicago, R as in real, E as in estate.
Great. Well, Todd, thank you again for being on the show today. It was excellent to talk to you.
Same here, Max. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. And thanks to you for listening. And we will see you next time on Chicago Business Radio.
This episode of Chicago Business Radio has been brought to you by FirmSpace, your private sanctuary for productivity and growth. To learn more, go to firmspace.com.